Welcome everyone to another vintage and retro and SPARC episode. Of course, I finished this a little bit from the other day. To all my own disbelief, I actually got 32-bit SPARC working, at least V8 and stuff in QEMU. And so previous, like 3 years ago, when I got this sort of working with V7, SPARC V7, the original production SPARC, we had X still crashing, and I thought X is totally broken, but it turns out maybe only the TG6 and Sun Color Graphic and TG6 and TCX is so broken. So, because look at this is my last night's build of T2. We just freaking support everything TM Linux. Actually, I probably should get this trademark down. Yeah, Texas Instruments, Virtual Super SPARC. Here with Xorg running with CG6 graphics. And so yeah, it's not like X is totally broken, just like apparently some drivers might be broken. So you probably share, like, subscribe, Patreon, GoFundMe, GitHub sponsorship, and PayPal, OnlyFans, all the good stuff. Because it looks like I have at least some Xorg drivers to patch. I also let's continue. I need to rebuild this. I was a little bit stupid. I wanted to, it's like recurring theme, a little bit stupid here, but at least we don't roll over CPUs like other YouTubers. I thought I changed the configuration to not build with LTO and less smarter optimization, because 03 or so at times, I knew that already from Ultra SPARC. GCC at times produces randomly segmentation faulting code and stuff. So yeah, I thought I changed it. I only changed it in my main build all test driver. So I wasted like 2 hours of epic thread-ripping performance overnight of building the same shit for nothing. Because one thing, so I guess it's like nearly production ready. Welcome to 2022, nearly production ready 32-bit SPARC live on this channel. As I mentioned yesterday, the sad thing is, if I wanted to use it on my real hardware, I would need to build it slightly older, because V7 without hardware divide and stuff. Yeah, but the one thing, nearly production ready, at least GCC is either GCC and make or both, but this could be simply go away with optimizing it less. This is why this time I hopefully finally rebuild it correctly. And you probably also want to share, like, and subscribe to support me getting even faster epic thread ripping Horizon stuff, also data busy at its finest. While we are here, we could also do something useful. So you see, most stuff works, so also one thing, yesterday's video, right? Zilo, the old SPARC bootloader, which we only use for 32-bit, because for 64-bit there is also grub2, so we migrated to grub2, at least for the most part. Details. But I just patched it because the problem is it only supports, like originally for decades, it only supported upstream 2.5 megabyte to load with firmware on the early boot. There to load the Linux kernel in RD with 2.5 megabyte. There is a patch that they reverted upstream, but of course I had it in T2 because obviously T2, our tiny little and increasingly most supporting and successful Linux distribution. And some say actually the best. Actually, my friends say it's the best Linux distribution. They might be biased, but maybe they are up to something. But of course we had this patch to increase this allocation area to 2.9 megabyte, I think, or 2.8, 128. You get the idea. And I just increased it further, right? So the saying is, on original Sun open firmware, there's only like 3 megabyte mapped or whatever, or maybe it's 4 minus whatever. But so the thing is, with memory management units of mapped actually usable memory, I never confirmed it myself, because obviously I never used 32-bit SPARC in production, but I just increased it, right? So I was like, YOLO, whatever. It certainly, if we have an either and it isn't installable, that certainly sucks. I mean, if everything works, if you manually extract it and somehow YOLO it, like plugging in your precious SCSI hard drive in a USB or FireWire adapter live on this channel. That certainly sucks. So I just increased this address to something significantly larger. I just randomly guessed some hex number, whatever that was, maybe 10 megs or whatever, or 16. And it just freaking loads, and at least QEMU, right? So I don't know if it works on real hardware because the only real hardware I have is version 7. And maybe I pack it out this winter. You probably want to share, like, and subscribe for that fun stuff in winter. But at least in QEMU, it just freaking works TM, right? So that is perfect for me now because real hardware, I recently wanted to auction a SPARC Station 5 in good condition with documentation and discs, but I might have spent even as freaking high as 200 euro just for, I mean, it's burning money, right? I mean, it's not even like I'm Elon Musk and need to have a private vintage collection here. It's quite similar to my SPARC Station 2 that I got for free, right? So 200 euro was already stressing it. What I would be willing, I mean, theoretically, in my opinion, people should also, like, they sometimes do give this stuff for me for free because I already spent 20 years of my life supporting all this stuff. It's also, I'm like doing significant amount of open source work, certainly magnitudes more than most people do. And then I should also buy this overpriced stuff on eBay, right? It's like, anyway, my limit was like 200 euro, and I think it went away for significantly more, whatever it was, maybe 400 or something of that sort. And like, this is 40 or was it 100? Maybe it's 80 or whatever, 100 megahertz. In any case, freaking slow stuff that is barely supported with everything. So unless you want to run T2 or NetBSD or original Sun OS, it's like, yeah. But yeah. Maybe I check this one day, and also the point is also it's simply, sure, we can squeeze the kernel, and initRD is actually the bigger problem. Is also the initRD in the kernel now, the Linux kernel nowadays is already larger than 2.885 or so megabyte. It might be technically possible to squeeze the Linux kernel into that size with disabling lots of features and drivers and stuff. The initRD is a bigger problem if you want to boot with initRD, which we need for the installer, right? So while you could technically boot T2 without an initRD, it's not pretty. I guess it works. Actually, maybe we should actually, you know what? The win-win of this video is, why do I make these videos? I mean, not only that I wait for this epic threadripping build to build, but also actually win-win, right? I mean, we probably want a test plan of, we probably want a test plan of kernel here, test boot kernel without initRD. Although even that is increasingly, I think actually, you know what, it might be, yeah, maybe on some architecture. For x86, actually, even we don't support this because we have such a full modular kernel. I don't see a point of linking generic IDE, although it's only maybe 30K or whatever. Plus some surrounding subsystems. So also the generic good old-fashioned I/O port bit-banked generic IDE might only be 30K. The surrounding stuff that you would need, actually, yeah, it's so we don't support that even really. So I need to check with that because it would also I don't see a point of linking some garbage file system like X2 and half of some subsystem. Nowadays it would be like SCSI, libATA and stuff. So although generic IDE might be 30K or something of that sort, the surrounding stuff easily adds up with all the surrounding subsystems for SCSI disk and potentially even SCSI. I mean, okay, if you only wanted to boot, yeah, but long story short, it's sort of pointless. And also historically on these machines, why you booted a fully monolithic kernel is also because the initRD is also historically we built initRD with dialibc for the biggest space savings, because nowadays you already waste like around a megabyte of bloody glibc. All not optimal. That's what we got. I think the T2 things of our amazing Linux distribution is one of the smallest and cleanest and easiest to read and so on. But even for us, so yeah, there are limits. And this is why I would say with the SPARC stuff, I mean, we will do some low-level code, so you want to share, like, subscribe, because I'm increasingly getting done with supporting kinda everything. 25 with SPARC now, 25 freaking, so more than 24 architectural combinations. What I mean with this is mostly architectures, but some variants like X32 for, that is of course AMD 64, but with 32-bit pointers for potential performance, plus Musel, so it's if we have 25 build variants, it's like probably 23 architectures, because AMD 64 has 3. Does it make sense? Something like that. Yeah, probably I need add one more easy low-hanging fruit to have Guinness World Record of 24 real architectures plus 2 build variants or something, a total of 26 freaking architecture combinations. And so easy, fully automated, that you can build this at home overnight on your epic thread-ripping Ryzen. Anyway, so while we wait for this build, so yeah, there are, as far as I've seen, so booting works with this hacked Zilo. Booting works at least in QEMU, good enough for me. Installation fully works, not a single issue. Even X comes up if you use QEMU CG3, that is not the default is TCX. I will maybe try to patch that some other day. The 2 main real bugs, so basically it's like nearly production ready, as I mentioned 15 minutes ago, or yeah, 15 minutes ago. The big 2 things are all 3. So one thing is testing on real hardware. It would probably mostly work except Zilo booting maybe, but the 2 other real things are at least G++ has some not terminating compilation issue. It's probably the same GCC miscompiled code thing that I observed with UltraSpark with 32-bit user space, so it's probably identical. I hope not using LTO and a little bit less optimization is hiding that GCC bug, because I'm certainly not debugging that. I rather write a whole compiler soon. Shall like and subscribe for that. And yeah, so GCC, and the other thing is maybe make 2. I'm not entirely sure if this is, because if I build some, so if I can actually hear in this, so GCC kind of works. Am I in the right directory? I'm not using source T2, so I have here this. So compilation works in MISC archive hello C, so that works. By the way, how long does it take? So in QEMU, yeah, it's faster than on real hardware. On my 40 megahertz 3 years ago, this took some seconds. So yeah, the compiler works in general, just not, does this here work, or does it? So just not C++ and or make. Although maybe make is not the issue, but anyway, I hope we can hide this GCC miscompilation marginality with not LTO and less smart optimizing that. Like, yeah, probably, it's not apparently C++ this is. But anyway, yeah, it's certainly not nice. I will see if this rebuild fixes it. We can do one more thing, which is, I noticed we have, also can we, which I can't make it that much larger for you. Why is it so? All right, this pointer is not the pointer. Let's make it at least a little bit larger for you. But anyway, if you're amazed by all the stuff, don't forget to like, subscribe, maybe tell your news sites, because usually, as we are not yet as famous as some others, we are not that often in news. So if you want to help us for free, costing you not a single cent, write some news sites, because we just had a release, because obviously it's the best release of T2 ever, because we did so much attention to detail that we delayed the release for 6 months of thousands commits of, you see the result, right? Even I'm impressed, and when I'm impressed about my own work, then probably must be good. Anyway, we also have dropped frames, of which I'm not most impressed. 711 drop frames, 2.3%, because we use Vodafone internet, and that is obviously some failing garbage. NeoFetch. I think I didn't install that. We probably is what are yeah, so for that we would need to, maybe actually I wonder, should we install, maybe we actually need to freaking install NeoFetch, because is this stuff so stable that we can, so the thing is, to merge it, yesterday I, what, unable to connect it, I reboot, that did, or maybe I did reboot, not sure, apparently didn't. Maybe I did reboot. So the thing is, if just checking this out probably runs in, yeah, QEMU performance also not the most amazing. Somehow it's amazing as good as it is. It's just somehow we are running with turbo boosting to nearly 5 gigahertz on a Ryzen 1550X. For that, the performance is a little bit, yeah. So just checking out those sources here takes probably 10 minutes or so, which less. So, and then maybe we could, where do we have? I could manually install it just for the fun of it, but I would rather also do something slightly more interesting. Wait a second, let me check where NeoFetch is. Maybe I grab this. manually. So that is in contrib. There. So contrib and then package. Yeah, so the performance is probably close, and this is also why I didn't spend like 200 euro on this stuff on eBay, also motor prims. Because if you think for 200 euro, I get a relatively high performance latest Intel CPU or something. Sure, not a, but it's basically pointless to spend so much money unless. I also find it crazy that so many people. I mean, I always try to minimize the price on eBay and stuff. I usually negotiate stuff down. I think even so, I also recently auctioned this external SCSI enclosure because I wanted a proper one, and I was waiting like over a year for that. And even then, I think I always make an offer for like 10%, 10 to 20% less of what they ask. So I got it for like maybe 40 euro or something. And I only wanted to enclosure and got a freaking SCSI CD writer for free. Not sure if it worked though, need to test it still. But yeah, negotiate the stuff down and don't overpay for this nonsense. Let's spend like maximum a minute on this stuff manually. Because normally you would use T2, just that the checkout obviously takes a while, as I mentioned. So, hey, middle mouse button works. That is nearly better than Wayland. What? Failed to write received. Ah, right, I was so stupid here. And what else? Welcome everyone. So question, what package manager does it use? We use our own, so built from source, a little bit like other rolling roll source distribution. So you would like, I mean, we simply pack the stuff like for distribution in simple tarballs that are currently set standard compressed for that. So question, is SPARC just like RISC-V? Yeah, kinda. It's like, it's their grandfather, right? You know this. I think I once posted it on my Instagram. Although they're not really related. Darn, when you want that, I think did I posted that one? Maybe I should. I really like this one graphic set, of course, if you wanna. Oh, come on. But doesn't matter too much, of course, if you. This is why I sometimes post or repost stuff on, because of. Anyway, it's both RISC. So basically, SPARC is one of the earlier implementations of reduced instruction set computing. Others were SPARC, MIPS, and certainly the more famous one, including ARM. So they are not really related, but the concept, this is where this concept started. Also, why? Oh, wait a second. Why did this not? Maybe we need dash L. Does this? No, that was better. So, and then we do something more useful. But yeah, for CD installation, we use simple tarballs. And otherwise, you would emerge this from source, similar to Gentoo, but we are not copying Gentoo. T2 and its successor Rock Linux were created in a similar time frame around 1998. Maybe even our heritage of Rock Linux might be some months older, but it doesn't really matter much. So the concept is similar, the implementation is entirely different. So our stuff is implemented in shell, in readable shell stuff with built-in cross-compile support and so on. It's a magnitude simpler, also at times a little bit manual guidance is required. However, now with all this YouTube success and craze and supporting the most architectures out there and stuff, we will now also polish that a little bit. Also, I also will work soon on more low-level example code and a microkernel. But aside from that, we will also polish that a little bit more. So NeoFetch, does it do something? Yes, it does something. Oh, it's freaking slow. Yeah, we also need, by the way, pro tip, so you can spread the news, which is amazing. Also, I wasn't even aware that NeoFetch was a thing until this YouTube stuff here. So I personally submitted this NeoFetch support there like a year or two ago, probably 2 years. And I quickly YOLO'd this logo. I'm not sure is it amazing, leave in the comments below. I guess we could do better. So if you want to do some amazing, so not only share, like, subscribe, Patreon and sponsorship and stuff, also send us patches, right? Super welcome. And also amazing. Also graph artwork, like this small attention to detail, I think maybe it's one of the most simple logos. I mean, some people might even like this, but I also feel like some other artwork is probably better, and would certainly be welcome if you want to contribute any changes in polishing to that. So yeah, I'm surprised it does even mostly do useful stuff here. Texas instruments, Super SPARC, quite some virtual memory, and hey, 301 packages installed, yay! Anyway, so the more useful thing I wanted to do, and you see, most stuff works, right? The biggest issue, G++, GCC, which hopefully we can hide, and so on. And so otherwise, all right, package, XORG. The one thing I quickly wanted to do, we have an, also we want to actually check out that. So do we have coffee? I need more coffee. So, and by the way, T2 of course supports RISC-V, right? I even have previous video, I have the unmatched, and so T2 is one of the most state-of-the-art supporting architectures for everything and RISC-V. I'm also the only one who has RDNA2 stuff running on RISC-V. Previous video, as featured in Linus Tech Tips and Level 1 Tech. So XORG, probably XORG server, we have an XCFG config script, and I noticed that kind of works, but not fully. We want to map, I mean, I'm not usually using that, but as we're already here, I guess it can help people. Also, probably, by the way, GLX, where does it? Yeah, maybe we do the other stuff then. And so Sun, do we have Sun Crater? Okay, we have here, we have some mappings here. Oh wow, we even have some, oh interesting. So yeah, this is just some, usually you don't need this, but if you want some help, this can help you. And while we are at it, we certainly should map some more Sun stuff. So creator, I mean theoretic. Oh wait, here we have even, wow. I map here even CG, interesting. So we have those already, and so we want to map. Okay, we're probably mapping all GX on. I'm not sure if this. Anyway. So that is CG3, CG3, CG3. I mean, I wonder what, maybe we should check the other frame buffer names, but I'm surprised we have, wait a second, why is this so strangely indented here? It's not using tab. Using tab. By the way, Vim, right? Vim on. Also, by the way, does that work here if we switched that to the natural? Maybe we should patch the freaking default, because I really hate. Actually, this is also doesn't look ideal. I really hate. Leave in the comments below. Black on white terminals really trigger me. That looks like the Microsoft Word of terminal. Philips, German med scientists are their favorite. Happy to hear that. Someone says, what a window manager in Scratch from in CPP. Actually, we'll do something like that. I will write soon, probably over the winter, the beginnings of a microkernel, because all these bugs and monolithic YOLO together stuff in C triggers me. I'm just not sure if I will use C++, and maybe we use some C++ inspired of our own language. Not yet entirely sure yet, but I will write. You probably want to share, like, subscribe. I will write some high-performance level code supporting vintage and retro stuff like Sync 3DFX Voodoo and S3 Verge, the accelerator, just because it's easy to use to prototype some complete, like much more efficient and even simple, directly memory managed high-performance compositing stuff from scratch, but not for maybe proof of concept usable in Linux, but otherwise for bare metal and virtualization. So yeah, somehow this, as much as I prefer this reverse video text, looks somehow strange. Anyway, not the most important. So I wonder, maybe because somehow this is indented strangely. Not sure how we did that. Whatever we. So this is mostly. So usually I just removed the XOR config last week, so that X-Int2 works without config much better for most scenarios, except this vintage stuff. And so for that, I would prefer if you run this old-fashioned config stuff, that it just works. So, darn, now I can't. Why is this? Was not grabbed from QEMU. So Sun CG3. I wonder if they changed this frame buffer identifier, but I guess not. I also wonder if does the syntax here even works? Apparently it does, huh? Because that is a little bit strange that we have a space here. Usually we don't use a space here. So yeah, CG3. There might be others. CG. What other? Where is there? We can actually check it in our own package config. Sun. Oops. Video Sun. Yeah, there's also CG14. Oh, Sun Leo, right? Yeah, but I don't have them, and QEMU does not emulate them. So yeah, there are some more to map. We could double check with the Linux kernel, but I wonder, would they have a... Also drop frames. Shame on you, Vodafone's failing shit there. So sets and drivers, video, I guess, FBDEF, and then Sun, CG, or is it all in? Maybe that is in CG3. No, where would be Sun? Which frame buffer driver is that? It might be some generic frame, open firmware thing. Color frame buffer, yeah, thank you very much. Which one would that be? Open firmware, let's no, there is CG3. Where is it? So we have all of them. Actually, they have separate. Where are they hiding? CG. It's not in the. Let's check the kconfig. CG. There's CG3. There's CG. What? There's CG. How did we overlook that? Ah, right, because it doesn't have a prefix. CG, here they are. Leo, here's Leo. That should be Sun, right? Yeah, David S. Miller. So what would be the ID of this one? There must be probably some name somewhere. Here, Sun. Probably, is it this one, Leo match off? No, this is just a match. So probably it has Leo in the name. Most likely, where would be the... It should be somewhere. Probably either name or probably not proc directly. Well, it's probably some name somewhere. It's here, probably... Does it? I guess it would. Aleo FB. Here is some Aleo FB get options. It's fair to guess it's something with Leo. Either Leo FB. Not sure which value the kernel passes down there. Leo. Yeah. So we don't have that in there yet. Let's add this while we are at it. Then it gets a little bit more testing. So we have here also Sun Leo. Not sure if it would work. Maybe it does. Oh, no. Hello. And then Sun. So something with Leo. So we need to be a little bit careful that we don't overmatch stuff. But probably should, yeah, if we overmatch this, then we someday need to check what exactly this is. Oh, by the way, if you want to support me, as I earlier said, if you have such hardware and it's just collecting dust, then feel free to donate some stuff to us. So Sun Leo might be one of the earlier actually, what is the devs here even? As the default devs is, yeah, so the 16 is not supported, I think. One of those is the earlier 32-bit frame buffers, so also it might support both. Where's my mouse cursor? Hello, mouse cursor. There is it, but we could check this, but whatever. How many more do we have there? So Leo is Leo, and let's maybe check the kconfig for Sun, like SBus, UPA. We also have, did we open BW2? No, we didn't. CG3 we just got. FFB is the new stuff. CG14, did I open? CG14 we opened. Leo. And are these all? Apparently. So then... I guess... Black and white 2 is probably black and white, as the name implies, I would guess. So what name do they use here? Probably BW. Ah, here is. Yeah, that's probably. I mean, we could double check with CG. 3 is and this is open firmware device ID match. So what do they pass through there? Maybe we should double check with CG3 actually. Let's see what we got there. Okay, CG3 fully spelled out. CG3 fully, okay, maybe they, because it's fully spelled out. So it's not, that's also the confusing stuff, right? Recurring theme don't do that, right? I understand, so the history is already ruined for 20 years, it is like that, but it means this differently spelled stuff all over the place is only confusing, right? Also, yeah, here differently, basically, it's crazy, right? I mean, why do they spell it like that there, like that there? But that's what the chaos that is Unix and the Linux kernel. Hey, it even has two types of 60 and anyway, so it's fully spelled out, so that probably passes down the open firmware name, most likely something of that sort. So that would be that here. What did we, I guess, previously BW2, BW2. Also, I would have prefixed this with sun or something like. As it took me like extra efforts to actually look this up because all the obvious links people use. So BW, so probably fully spelled out, I guess. The crazy thing is that even the VI refresh is a little bit lagging, right? Before you spend 200 plus euro on eBay, it's like, yeah, even QEMU, it's slowish, and we run this at 5 gigahertz plus emulation, or like minus emulation overhead. So here is now our sun here. So fully spelled out. Maybe we put them here in order for better. So that would be, what did we just say? Fully spelled out BW2. Maybe we put it like that, and if it doesn't match it, then it's to be corrected. Sun, I think that was. Oh wait, I'm not even sure which bit depth that is. If this is really 2-bit depth, I have no idea. BW2. Let's check that sources. Yeah, I mean, how famous is T2 becoming? You Google the stuff and it's the second freaking hit on Google, right? So, CG2, let's see what bit depth they support here. I have the, I guess it can't be like 8, can it? Set depths, what do they pass in here? This is strange. Wait, case, oh wait, they have here depths 1? You're kidding me, the Xox, does the Xox server really? I've 20 years in the industry, or 25 years of programming, I think I never used 1 bit. Did I ever in my life? Like 2022, 1 freaking bit depths frame buffer. Wow. I have like completely zero idea if the Xox server will still support this. That is a new thing. Crazy. But that's what we're here for. Mad Scientist live on YouTube, adding support for 1-bit devs. W2, devs 1. Let's hope it works. I have no idea. CG3. Let's also what was it? That was TGX here of TCX. Also, I'm pretty sure one of those should support 32-bit, but let's maybe leave it like that. For now, what else do we have? CG14. I mean, very theoretically, we could improve it even further, right? Right now, we don't do no XOR config anymore because modern stuff usually, like PCI-based stuff, usually starts significant better without any config. We could, of course, further automate that, like recognizing it here, whether it's modern enough, and then do nothing, like only write a good old-fashioned example config for good old-fashioned stuff, but that is for another day. I'm not doing that. Also very small. It's a little bit annoying, all this too. I probably should, also this probably doesn't have tablet, this is even there. So, what else do we have? So BW2, that is CG14, let's see, so okay, that may be fully spilled out there as well as the others, so probably belongs probably about to here, CG14, like that. Let's double check that. CG, maybe I should have copy 14. Also best without typo. That's where we double check that. The one thing that would be better, even better, would be copy and paste between my Epic thread-driven Ryzen workstation and QEMU here. Probably something for another day. Slightly wonder what, wait a second, what is even the Xorg server name for that? Questions over questions, probably with number. And I probably should not have closed that. Theoretically, we could also improve the metadata, not that it would really matter except Google hits, but CG14, I think the Xorg people use numbers. It's a little bit, yeah. Let's see what devs are supported here. Also, I'm not sure what 14 stands for. They actually have 32-bit here. So they only support 32-bit in that one, I guess? Or does it also support 8? Maybe 8 and 32? We don't currently support direct color. What? Yeah, not so. Actually, wait a second. There is 24. CP plain 24, so it's probably 24-bit with 32-bit data or something. Devs 32-bit there, so 32-bit. Okay, so that is 32. Whatever this 14 stands for. And I think Leo is also 32. I think this supports both. Ah, damn, I had them open last midnight. I should have directly saved all of them. What was the other? Sun TCX. And init, where is he at? Devs 8. Which one do I TC? Oh wait, the TCX is the wrong one. Did I not want Leo? Or did I not show what I wanted to double check now? Too much double checking. They have some 8-bit. What else do they have? No devs 24 support 30. Unless 32, unless low devs okay. What? 8 okay, 32. I'm not sure what. So apparently there is some 32-bit variant, but that is this comment here is confusing. Unless low devs okay. I would unless low devs. Unless low devs okay. Yeah. Anyway, so Leo. But so they support both. So yeah, we could probe that from the open firmware device tree, but we could also just leave it like that. And if you can manually fine tune this. By the way, these Xorg drivers are super small. Also, with my microkernel stuff, you would only have one driver, right? Not this unaccelerated not very functional frame buffer driver, and then some differently. I mean, those old stuff from 30 years ago doesn't even have much hardware solution. Some do bit BLT block transfer, and some, I think the Sun Leo even does 3D or something, like flat and grout shading. Also, even lighting, I think I read last night, but of course not supported in open source stuff, right? I mean, not that it would be too, it's like less impressive than an S3 Verge, so where is even the devs now? Yeah, 32, so they have 32 support. Okay, this apparently only supports 32, I guess, because they error out in other given devs. So this was Leo. Good that we checked that. Did we had that correct? Yeah, we had this correct. The 32 there. I hope we have wired up. Oh, wait a second. This is also, apparently I somehow. BW2, CG3, this TurboGrafx stuff, CG14. By the way, maybe we should double check, as we already spent so much time on supporting this vintage stuff. Hello, what's going on? What else do we have? CG14 and CG3. Did we check CG3 already? CG3 or this. So I guess we would need to match the two, but if someone ever has that, send me a patch. Until then, YOLO. So I wanted to check one more thing, which is CG6, which I actually have. Let's just... Okay, this is completely different. That is strange. So this would be CG6, or I mean, even... Oh wait, this matches CG3 Plus? Wow, what confusing stuff. Why do I have here GX? Do they wait, there was... They have here even card name, wow, for that. So init so wow, they even... What, that is supported in freaking 68 freaking K? Are you freaking kidding me? Wow, no I want... Did I just say don't buy overpressed stuff from eBay? No, I want a freaking Sun Motorola 68K. That would be crazy if that really is supported. What, and they have, why do they have was it really, was there ever a Sun 386 machine with CG3 Plus or... Anyway, so that is what I mean. So apparently here they have card name, where do they fix ID, so that is init. Maybe we actually need to double check those others. So they have a really TGX, so that would indeed be star, you know what, theoretically T or... So yeah, this is what we have there. Theoretically we could even match that to all GX or GX. So I mean, do we probably lowercase that. Okay, let's leave it how it is. TGX, GX, yeah. That is unfortunate. Now I need to double check the other one. So that is init fix. Where's the freaking card name? Fix ID, would that be device node as in printf? They don't do... Where did they print that into? Card name of fix ID. Okay, they... So that would be fix ID. Okay, so that is indeed... Yeah, fix ID, that is that one. Let's double check all the other ones. So BW2. Okay, here's a print hard-coded BW2. I think that's what we had. BW2, yeah. What else? It was CG14, 6, we had 14. Here's a print, okay, here's a indeed print, open firm device node into it. So that probably should be what we had there. CG14, I guess. What else did we had? Leo? I would have all prefixed this. If I would be Linus Torvalds, I would have prefixed them all with Sun, but... so yeah, also that, so that should... So yeah, the question is it Leo or Sun W? Anyway, we probably, do we match all of Leo? Yeah. I mean, we could probably make it a little bit less error prone. Where's my cursor? If we... Oops. It's not the fastest Xorg server, I can tell you that. All of at the end, so that it's just preventing if nothing matched and that is some entirely different name with somewhere Leo in between, that it doesn't match this. So Leo, what else did we had? Were that all? I guess, huh? BW2, CG3. But yeah, even you see even this name chaos, right? Means this were the same handful of 2 or 3 people doing the Sun reverse engineering and Linux support stuff, and even that it's some complete chaos. But TCX, maybe I double check TCX. Okay, here's a print some TCX name R8. Oh, here they have this in the name actually. Interesting. So probably, you know what, we could actually, you know what, let's make that a little bit cooler than TCX. So they print TCX 8 or 24. So then TCX 8 and 24. TCX, and I think this is 32-bit internally of optimizing addressing, memory addressing there. Not to do always underlined loads and stores. So yeah, that's basically mostly it. We probably should test that. Also, yeah, we don't need CMake. Basically, I manually step here some stuff because that is currently not building due to atomics, but who needs it anyway, right? I could automate that in some way, shape or form, but for tonight's test builds that is enough. So I did this all the last test builds where I have them all in the history. Glue, Freak, you see all this. Basically, this most of the stuff is only because we don't have a Mesa yet anymore. Alright, also some random. I do this now only, otherwise the build stops with that. What else did we have? Mach 64, TDFX. Did I have that already? And, oops. Ah, darn, I closed it accidentally. So that probably should be most of it. And then test it. Yeah, Sun CG3, devs 8-bit, that probably looks fine. And then let's casually commit that from .32-bit SPARC. Oops. Yeah. Let me just, actually I had a typo in there, wait a second for my password entry. Just need to fix a typo here. So yeah, that committed. So all the Open SSL serve, or what we currently use here, and subversion stuff, 32-bit SPARC good enough to actually freaking work on a good old 30-year-old V8 workstation. SPARC V8. So yeah, I'm thrilled that this worked. I didn't quite expect that. So let's, last but not least, test the TCX frame buffer one more time. So yeah, so that works. I just regenerated the config, as you've seen. And let's shut down H0 and boot with TCX. Let's see what other comments you have there. So I think it only, I actually wonder, they list here XenFB. I wonder if that really freaking works, TM, to be honest. Maybe it doesn't, who knows. And as you see, we completely load this with this patched Zilo. Probably load, actually with that we probably load quite some 20 megabyte in that configuration. What else did I miss? All right. So most likely this was segmentation fault, at least it did yesterday. So this is of course the wrong driver. Yeah, no device detected. I mean, we could try, you know what, let's directly try our just committed package. TCX, so yeah, that's segmentation faults. And as the other works, I would, does it segmentation fault? Yeah, segmentation fault address. So I thought, but it's also the state of upstream, right? Recurring theme here, everything not tested is not only broken, but also for sure all this upstream stuff. Yeah, certainly this XORG stuff. I'm surprised the Linux kernel at least mostly works with this hope. And then it's next year, like broken for years. In the big news, some SPARC stuff finally deleted because nobody tested it for years or stuff. So that was an actually good test. I would have wasted so much more time debugging other stuff in the XORG server when this actually works otherwise. And it's good to know that it can work. In theory, the bit depths should be the same, so it's hopefully only comparing and debugging, guru meditating that two drivers here. I slightly wonder, you could even look into the history and get some clues. So CG, it's also crazy that the probably less capable driver works better. This is the wrong one. Yeah, but that is for another day. It's probably enough for today. We have so CGT. Yeah, basically I would need to attach a GDB there still, preferably. Maybe there's just some API conversion missing or done. TCX, TCX. Actually, we could even check CG3. Also, yeah. our distribution first hit, because obviously who else supports it still? And wait, I wanted CG3, so CG3 was working. You would expect the more full-featured modern stuff to be working. So basically what you can often find, 10 years ago, 9 years, actually even interesting that this was touched. Oh, this was just header include. So the last commit 9 years ago. Initialize backing store. It's crazy that it still works without that though. So this was TCX. Maybe something of that sort is just missing. It has that here though. Then it's other stuff. But obviously something goes wrong there because it's the end. Anyway, that's it for this video. It's already, unexpected progress. I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to post it to some Unix porn somewhere there. Where's my mouse cursor? Here. And probably quite some comments today. I hope you enjoyed this and learned something. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And one quick look to the comments. So Soref was writing a kernel from scratch, copying most of the stuff. I mean, you're not really writing a kernel from scratch if you're only copying stuff from our stuff, but anyway, that's it for this video. Masterlight asks Crazy German Scientist, what do you prefer, Vim or Emacs? Both, actually, neither, but I've used both. I said it before, for big edits I use Emacs, and even for 20 years already. And for the, I don't understand this flame war stuff. I mean, honestly, both editors are not. I think, yeah, they could be so much better. I understand where they're coming from. I don't understand this flame war. Personally, I know this will trigger people in the flame war, but for smaller and command line edit stuff, I use VI. I got away for 20 years with just VI, the good old-fashioned NVI, not this. People. The funny thing is, people call Emacs an operating system monster and then use Vim, this VI improved, that is similar operating system monster. Or the irony. And yeah, just give me freaking NVI. But yeah, that's how my work is split. Like all those command line, console, T2 distribution stuff, VI, and just NVI is enough, and big freaking edits, MX Emacs, for 20 years already. And why X Emacs? Because it had support for anti-aliased XFT fonts for 15 years already, probably like a decade longer than the freaking Emacs. And yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, contact your local Unix porn or news sites for the latest and greatest release, that is T2 22.6 resistance. And hope to see you soon for the next videos and fun stuff to come. And we had full disclosure how much Vodafone sucks. Vodafone Germany's doxes sucks 4,733 or 3.9% of frames streaming with just 2.75 Mbit on our 50 Mbit upstream business doxes internet in the capital of Germany. Thanks Vodafone for freaking nothing. Previous video. That's so sad.